Yeah.
Dude, my favorite boomer parent story. My parents was I was like 8, 9, 10 years old, somewhere up in there, and I was just being 8, 9, or 10 years old, you know, like, I don't want to. Blah, blah, blah. Anyway, my mom had enough. My mom had enough, dude. And I remember her turning around, and she'd already warned me, like, you're gonna get it. You stop that attitude, you know, all the good stuff, right? All the threats that you don't really mean
until you mean it.
She turned around. And she smacked me in the face, dude. I'm talking just let me have it.
Dang.
Open hand, not closed fist, open hand. Smack. Dude, I was like, you slapped me. Later on, my dad came home, and I was like, Dad, Mom slapped me today. And he was like, what? I was like, Mom, she slapped me in the face. And he said, you probably deserved it. Go on.
Yeah.
I remember being like, so I'm trapped. My parents hate me. And now I look back and I'm like, you know what?
Yep.
I needed to get probably slapped a few more times.
She probably should have closed fist.
All right. Hey, we're here.
Here we are.
Season 3, episode.
3.
Might be the last season. You never know.
There's a lot happening in the world around
The
us.
eclipse is coming.
The cicadas are about to come out.
Red heifers are ready.
I was saying a second ago, or starting to talk about this eclipse. Just again, I was just thinking about all this stuff, bro. I'm not saying conspiracies, but the stories about this, like, so it hasn't happened. We're supposed to be in parts of the United States. We are supposed to be in like total darkness for 5 minutes.
Yeah, especially in Texas.
So
It's like the area.
the path that the last time we had this eclipse, it was like 7 years ago, I think, something like that. And it ran from Texas to New York. I think that was the axis, the line it ran. But then this one's like running from Florida to somewhere. I can't remember exactly where, but it like makes this X.
Yes.
So you've got all these people. But the route that it ran last time, it crossed over the town, or 2 towns called Salem. And it was like Jerusalem, and it was like people, especially Bible people, were saying this is going to be 7 years of peace. So,
Really?
Like, missed that one.
but if you go look at the path that it runs this route, and this is coming from other people, it's going to run over like a town or 2 towns called
A lot of towns. Like Nineveh.
Oh, yeah. Like 9 of them, I think.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's a lot.
And so you put those together with the shape of the moon's path and all that kind of stuff. You've got a warning from the Lord.
You also have people that study soil, whatever that is, they said that for the first time in 18 years, that in this moment of total darkness, that there's supposed to be millions of underground cicadas that come up from the ground.
It's true.
I saw
about that.
That's what that is. I saw a thumbnail come up.
Dude, the plague, baby.
The plague. Get him, Jesus. Get him.
For once, can one of those things actually happen so I can actually believe these types of things? I'm such a skeptic, man. I'm a skeptic of like, it's getting worse. It's getting worse. And I don't want to be as skeptical, but I can't, I feel like I'm falling down a mountain, you know?
So what are you hoping happens? Just to...
Well, like, oh gosh, look, millions of cicadas came out. Now I can believe all these whack jobs on YouTube that everybody keeps sharing. Like, just one of them, be real. Like one of the prophecies.
Yeah.
Like just one of them.
Dude, but if they come out, I'm going to be like, man.
Well, it's also disappointing.
What do you think? It's like, oh, smoke.
And then I'm subscribing and I'm following and I'm going to be a Patreon.
You know, I just realized I've never noticed this, but if you look at the wall behind you.
Scales.
Oh, no! No!
Red heifers! Oh, my God! The red heifer!
Has that been here this whole time?
Yeah,
It has been.
Literally the whole time.
Dude, the Lord
Wait,
has
is
been
it
speaking
red
this
heifer
whole
a
time.
female?
Yeah, that's not it. But
That's
this
not a
is
red
how
heifer.
conspiracies happen right here.
Heifers don't have horns, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know anything about
Yeah.
cows.
Yeah.
I just eat them.
I just know they're delicious.
Especially the red heifers.
Steers also. Dude, I've been eating. I like those ones without any white hairs, without any black hairs.
I just watched some stuff on
Never
that.
been yoked, never been leaned on.
I'm like, dude, I realize more and more how dumb I am and how much I don't know. Because
Isn't it wild?
well, so all the red heifer stuff, I'm like, okay, hey, people are talking about the red heifer. I've heard of red heifer my whole life, like just here and there. But you know, hey, I'm not the biggest eschatological guy, right? Okay, so anyway, so I started looking. I'm like, okay, where is it at in Revelation? No. Where is it at in Daniel? No.
You got to understand
it's
history.
It's in Numbers. And it's they sacrifice red heifers in order to purify the temple.
Yeah.
Am I right with that?
That's
Yes.
correct.
And so, like, because it happened in the Old Testament, and like, okay, so it's gonna, and like that's somehow connected to the Dome of the Rock. That
Yeah.
they're supposed to, that's what it's gonna tick the Muslims off, and all over the world they're gonna come and they're gonna, and I'm like,
Yeah.
okay,
When it's happening this coming week, I believe.
it might have happened by the time that this podcast.
That's true. It might not ever release. The world could be over.
I had a conspiracy I was working on
Kinda
myself.
nice.
I was working on my own conspiracy.
Oh,
Yeah. It
this is more.
working on your
I like that. I've been constructing a conspiracy for the past couple
People get
months
all
here.
this time to do all this stuff and look at these pictures.
I've been working on this whole thing recently. And no, it was actually in a message prep.
Oh, so I'm part of the conspiracy
I think
too.
so. I think you were in there. Maybe you weren't because you were out of town last week. So maybe you weren't.
Ooh.
But we were talking about. Oh man, Steven would have to be here. He has to help me out. It was if you do the math on the years of this. Oh, I know it was year of Jubilee. When would
Okay.
the next mathematical year of Jubilee be? And apparently it's 2025.
Very nice.
Yeah. And then on
Oh,
top
yeah.
of that, whenever the year of Jubilee and Passover
When they-
being on a Friday, all being in like the same year, and like and 2025 was like the next one apparently. Like that was supposed to like really be really close or whatever. And I was like, hey,
You heard it here
this
first.
is it, man.
Absolutely.
2025, April-ish of 2025. That's whenever the real.
So you can
stuff's
look for
gonna
our
happen.
book coming out in a couple weeks.
Dude, we're gonna make some money.
2025, the end of the world.
This is it. This
Dude,
is it.
bumper stickers.
Oh, absolutely.
25 and alive,
Where's
baby.
the heifer?
Man.
You know what? Let's get a white heifer.
We're gonna flip the script.
Well, heifer. Lots of boils.
Dude, we want the nasty.
All lean on it.
Yeah, we want the nastiest heifer.
Yeah.
We're looking for one that
man.
it's a goner already. One that you want to eat.
It comes out of the womb. You're like, ooh.
I'll take that manufactured fake meat. I don't want that thing.
Dude, speaking of manufactured meat, the Lord's Chicken has approved or
Dude.
disapproved
Yep.
that they're going for a lower quality chicken.
Yep.
They're going for a
So-
lower quality chicken.
Yeah.
Yep.
One that has the
This affects my
potential-
life. This
Oh, yeah,
affects
I
my
know.
life.
The one.
Yep.
So they're going for a different style chicken that can be modified genetically.
So it,
I'm sorry.
it can
I
be
said,
beak or
I said, hold
beakless.
on. Wait. We're just talking about the end of the world, basically.
Welcome to America.
And then you're like, Chick-fil-A's changing the chicken. And I'm like, hold up. This actually affects my life.
I don't care about the trafficking rings.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I didn't say that. Whoa.
Dude, exaggerate.
That
I'm
doesn't
exaggerating
affect
this.
me.
I didn't
My
say-
name's not in that report.
I was talking-
I eat that every day.
I eat, dude.
Oh, we
I
eat Chick-fil-A, yeah.
I eat a lot of. Oh yeah, not every day, but I eat a good amount of chicken.
I'm like every other week Chick-fil-A maybe or every third week.
Wow, no, I'm like
Every third
I'm like
week.
twice a week.
Twice a week?
I'm like twice a week, which is better. I used to be 5 to 6 times a week.
Yeah.
I
There was a
Super
season where,
saved.
No, there was a season where they had a table reserved for us. Literally, it said,
Yeah, no,
this table's
seriously.
reserved for Northwood shirt.
That's awesome.
It had our logo on it and everything.
That's
Yeah.
incredible.
It was me and Mike and a couple other guys that
Yeah.
worked here. We'd
Our
go
pictures
there.
were on the wall.
It was
with True Kathy.
Photoshop though.
Yeah.
AI.
What's up, Scrubscribers? Look, wanted to interrupt this podcast to ask you to do something for us. If you like this podcast and it has helped you out in some way, shape, or form, we want to hear from you. We want you to send an email to ncunscripted@northwood.church and just let us know, how has this podcast impacted you, helped you, or maybe you don't really like it and you want to let us know that. You can send that too. We won't read it, but it's all good. But that's the first thing. Number 2 is this. We always love to hear stories of life change. And so I want to ask you if you could think about writing or typing out your story of life change. How has God impacted your life? What's your salvation story look like? Maybe it's something that God's done in your life recently and you just want to let somebody know about it. We'd love to hear that and potentially be able to share it on the podcast. Now, with that being said, back to the regularly scheduled program. We're going to be talking about some really important things. Maybe. One thing that I was thinking about recently was that it seems sometimes that, people are like kind of waiting for that thing to like set them off, like for like the straw that breaks the camel's back. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? In a relationship, in a whatever, and it's almost like there's like this almost anticipation for it, for the
Mhm.
moment where it's like, oh, now this is my out.
Not
Yeah.
looking
Yeah.
for, well, even looking forward to it to a degree.
Like,
yeah.
oh, if they do that,
Yeah.
if they don't do this right, if they don't, then I'm gonna. It's like, well, now you're only looking for the out. Now
Yeah.
you're only looking. Now it could be the little bitty straw, right? But
Yep.
barely any weight at all. It's like, that's it. This is my out.
Yep.
Well, you were prepared for that, you know, and it's like that whole thing of like not growing through it, but just sort of succumbing to it,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
just getting to that level of, I want to get back to the level of comfort or convenience, you know, and it's like you never grow in that,
Yeah.
you know.
So I mean, that's the
exhausting.
world that we're built on. Is run from anything that is uncomfortable or that's minorly frustrating or that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
And then I mean, what that plays out long term, especially in like church or Christianity, is some of those things are actually things that develop you.
I said it that's what I said last night in leadership class. I was saying, you know, we're talking about like burnout a lot and stuff, and I said there's two sides to that. One is like if I'm leading something or I'm doing something, and it's a good thing to be doing or leading or whatever, and I encounter resistance and start kind of redlining.
Yeah.
There's kind of you need input probably to make this decision properly, but there's a certain point where it's like sometimes you need to back away from whatever it is.
Sure.
But the thing is that if you every time you hit your lid, you always quit whatever's something that's
Yes.
causing that tension, you never grow through it.
Yes.
And you never get past that threshold. So there's some things in life where it's like, I don't need to bail on this tension. I need to go through it.
Absolutely.
It's so recently, you know, Ariana, we were having some conversations. There was something that she was doing, and she just kind of lost interest in it. And I told her, I said, and she wanted to quit. And I said, we're not going to quit. She was like, well, this, and this. I said, no, we're not going to quit. I said, we're going to finish.
Yeah.
And I said, finishing this looks like we're going to get through the end of the school year, because that's what she's in a. It's not a school thing, but it's something else. She's a part of that. I was like, we're going to finish in May. We'll be done with this. I said, you know, it's January. We're not going to quit halfway. I said, there is a difference between quitting and finishing.
Yeah.
And I said, even
That's
though
good.
you're feeling that tension right now, and I said, I'm going to work with you. We're going to work together on this, but you're not. I said, the reason is not just because it's not just about this.
Yep.
I said, you're 12. In 6 years, you're going to be 18. There's jobs.
Yep.
There's other things. There's college. There's other things. What if she goes to college? There's all these other things that are coming up. And I said, you're learning a pattern now.
That's great.
That if
That's
whenever you hit the wall, if your first inclination is to stop, you're going to do that in everything else.
Yeah.
Whenever it gets difficult, you're going to stop. To some degree, because it's self-care. I just need it. I'm stressed. I mean, she's 12. She's like, I'm stressed. I'm like, you don't know what stress is. But anyway, but that's a cultural thing. It's like, no,
Yep.
no, we are stressed, yes, but what about the stress test, right? It's like this is actually needed. This is necessary. Feel it and remain.
Yep.
And our culture isn't taught that. Our culture is on the opposite end of that.
Get out if
mostly.
pressure is applied.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, dude, there's not one, and all of us, there's not one thing in life
No.
that we grew in that it wasn't a struggle.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
It's always a struggle. So,
Yeah.
you know,
And then on the other side of it, once you grow through it one time, literally one time,
Yeah.
the next time you come up against the same thing, it's not as bad.
correct.
You've leveled up, you've grown, you've matured, you've strengthened, and then it gives you the ability to grow again.
Well, people think this, and I've thought this too. If something's really difficult, then you must not be built for it. You're not created for it. It's not your gift. It's not your thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so find the thing that brings you joy.
Yeah.
Find the thing or the person or whatever that fills you with life. And although there's obviously some truth to that,
For sure.
you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying every time that you've said that or thought that it's wrong.
Yep.
Of course not. But I think we understand the balance there. It's like, you know what? Me and Nadine, we don't always bring each other joy.
Mhm.
Sometimes
Sure.
it's a bad season, like it's a bad day, whatever. But I don't think in that moment, well, she's not bringing me happiness anymore, so maybe this doesn't need to be a thing in like our marriage.
Mhm.
And it's like, oh, how do people get there? I think that people get there on some level when they're 12 years old and they begin to learn to quit, not
Yep.
to finish.
That's great, man.
That's my little conspiracy about
No.
all that.
I agree.
I don't think there's
I agree.
inaccuracy
It's,
in that one.
it's developmental.
That's what
Yeah.
it is.
And so you've actually stolen the ability to develop.
Yep.
And I'm 39, and what I'm saying right now is where I'm at in certain things in my life right
Yeah.
now, and I've accepted that that's just life.
Yeah.
And so I'm not running from that. I'm embracing it. You know, there's some decisions right now that there's a whole nother thing that I'm looking to start in life right now. Not like another church or something like that, by the way.
Red Heifer Supply Co.
But
Dude, that's awesome.
just a new thing, and it takes learning, it takes research, it takes, and then
Mhm.
eventually it's going to take risk to just
Mhm.
to do it.
Yeah.
And what
All
I'm-
those sound uncomfortable.
oh, completely.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But I know that it's like it mathematically makes sense, it logically makes sense. Like I think I'll be successful in beginning to do this, but at the same time, it's not safe. Nothing, you know what I'm saying? It's not safe. Getting married is not a safe play.
Right.
Buying a house is not a safe, like anything that actually are milestones of development in life
Yep.
are not safe. And you have to learn new things in every single one of them,
Mhm.
Absolutely.
you know? And so it's not comfort, it's not convenient, but it is good, and it grows you. And like you just said, it does spill over into other things in life.
Absolutely.
And in our relationship with God, man. I mean, you know, as studying the Word,
Yeah.
growth. I mean, we're in our small group right now, going through the Book of Mark, and it's so fun to be in that environment each week where we're reading, and we just read a section, talk about it, and if we have time, we go to the next section. And you know, we
Yeah.
don't really have a big plan. We're just kind of going through that book, and you know, I mean, for me, and I mean the whole group, it's growth. And sometimes you read something and you're like, wait, what does that really mean? And then you have to be humble enough to say, I don't know what that means.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And it's okay. And then you grow, but it takes effort to study and to you know, and not just to sit on Sundays and just listen to somebody else
Yeah.
teach, but to go and figure it out for yourself as well. I don't know. It's just,
I was talking
applies
to
differently.
an older guy in our leadership track last night, and he's been part of our church since we launched. And he's great. Him and his wife, great small group leaders, but they've got like 18 people in their small group. And he
Yeah.
said this. He said, "Brother," he said, "I know it's time to," he
Yeah.
said, to make this two groups." And he said, over the last 10 years, he says, "I've been stretched." He said, "I've been uncomfortable." He said, "But," he said, "I've grown so much." He says, "You're going to have to help me with this one." This is what he
Right.
said last night. He says, "Because I know that this is going to be uncomfortable for me."
Yep.
He says, "Because we really like,"
Oh yeah.
he says,
Mhm.
"we've been together for so long." He says, "But there's 5 new people that have started coming this semester." He says, "The only way that we can actually help them is to make this 2 groups."
Mhm.
He said, "So it's going to be very uncomfortable for me." He says, "But I know it's going to help people." But I thought to myself, you know, that's not normal for
Mhm.
a 70-year-old person to say, "I want to keep growing.
Yeah.
I want to keep doing that." And it applies in every area of our life. But if we're people that are committed to growth, I think God will continue to grow us and use us in our homes. And I mean, what you're talking about with your daughter, dude, that's uncomfortable to have those kind of conversations. The
Oh,
easy
yeah.
thing to do as a parent is to say, "Let's get out,"
Oh yeah.
because that's actually, it's not just easy for her; it's easy for you.
Yep.
It clears your schedule.
Well, check this out.
Mhm.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because she's in. It's actually it's ballet. It's
Okay.
the whole ballet thing. She's in multiple classes with that.
Yep.
She's going for point. It's a whole thing. And what's crazy is 2 weeks later she got excited again about it,
Mhm.
and then she got injured 2 weeks after that, or 3 weeks after that. So then she couldn't do it for 2 or 3 weeks, and 3 weeks. And so you know what I dealt with? I was like, oh no. I mean, it was like a patella tendon thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, oh gosh.
Mhm.
I should have let her quit.
Yeah, right. I'm
Yep.
like, man, what? So you had the we're not gonna quit. We're gonna finish. She got excited about it again. Got injured,
Mhm.
and we didn't know. Went to the orthopedic surgeon. Kind of took a look at it. It's like, well, we'll just have to see what happens. But then she got better again,
Mhm.
and now she's excited. She's gonna finish, and she probably, honestly, I think at this point she wants to continue.
Yeah.
Man, what a lesson! You know, it's like she's worked for 6-7 years to get to this point,
Yep.
and you know, it's like right on the other side of this transitional time. Could be the next 3-4 years of doing what she really has wanted to do.
Yeah.
And then is it going to be like something that she later on in life actually makes money in it? And probably not. It's not. That's not really what it's about. It's about
building character.
Yeah, man.
Dude.
Team building.
Working with other
Working with
people.
other people. There's all kinds
Absolutely.
of good things that
Yeah.
come from team sports, band, music,
Absolutely.
all of it.
There's
Yeah.
no.
You're supposed to do it.
Callie just finished her volleyball or one of her volleyball season, and it wasn't a winning season. We'll say it like that. It was struggle. And you know, looking back now, talking through it, I think this season was actually more fruitful for her than being in a winning season on just a loaded team that it was tough to lose. This one, it was near impossible to win. And the conversations that came out of that about how to be a good teammate, how to be a good leader when everything around you's falling to crap. Like those conversations, and then you know, just talking to Callie on the way home the other day, she, you know, we were like, "Hey, it's nice for the season to be over, huh?" She's like, "Yeah." She said, "But this grew me a lot." And I thought to myself, "Man, I appreciate that type of conversation." So yeah, Ariana might not make a bunch of money from ballet, but the 12-year-old conversation might develop her for that 24-year-old moment, you know, where she's got to press through something. So
Yeah.
So what do we got coming up for next episodes?
yeah, so we actually, over the next month and a half, we've got 3 very different episodes. We've got a video call interview with Nick Ajamuti, who's he's been a friend of ours for a while, but like we're going to talk worship and just different things about the church. A couple weeks after that, we're going to go on the road for a podcast. On the road means in a golf cart.
Let's go.
In a golf cart and having conversations with one of our missions partners, Dan Oler King with Children's Cup. That one's going to be fun.
He promises bad golf and some good times.
Yes, he promises to be terrible at golf, but you're going to see a great heart. And then one more road trip. We're going to go out on a boat, go out onto an island.
Yeah.
With Sean Flannery, and he's going to talk about being a man. He's probably going to beat us up.
That's right.
He's going to feed us to sharks.
I can take you, Sean.
Oh, dude, can we set up a fight?
Absolutely not.
Sean?
That'd be so much fun.
Hard pass.
I would have nothing to offer to that. I just
no,
run
Joel
away.
and Sean.
Joel?
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
that'll never
Joel and
happen.
Sean.
it needs to be a Royal Rumble, like all of us versus him.
I would still not. No.
I just grab a leg and hold on.
Yeah, me too.
Hopefully you guys can topple him
Yeah,
over.
good luck, guys.
But
I'll
we're
grab a
gonna
leg. Joel just go collapse on top of him.
Not happening.
we're gonna jump in the boat and try to figure out how to get it to start and roll. He swims and catches us.
Oh, he would definitely catch us.
He jumps out of the sky. We're like, "Whoa, you were just in the water."
He's not winded at all.
descends down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Anyway, we're gonna have a podcast with him, talk about being a man, talk about the
Yeah.
military, Jesus, and who knows what else we're gonna talk about. So that's gonna be a blast,
Yeah.
and
times.
looking forward to that.
See you later.
Yeah.
Keep watching. Subscribe.
He's just like, bye.